supply chain security is something that we've been worried about for a very long time. And we haven't fixed it, right? Like we want to think we've gotten better about it. But like, something as simple as, in the very first episode, one of the main characters is being told, oh no, we can never tell anybody about this because you're too valuable. If something happens to you, everything would be wrecked. And, and that is one of those key points in supply chain. Like if someone could figure out how to compromise the software that runs in a TPM or gain access to Apple's secure enclave, like that's it. We're done. Supply chain over.
I just want to say that like we're never going to solve this, right?
No.
And we're never going to solve any of it. Like I'm sorry if I sound dramatic. Right?
Man, you take a vacation and suddenly you become defeatist. What's up?
No, but the point. No, but the point is, like, I mean, the quote is usually misattributed to Jefferson, right? The price of freedom is eternal vigilance, right? It was not him; it was somebody else. But the quote is true. Like, and I think that this points to something that as security professionals that we keep, particularly when we're trying to help new people come into the fold, is that you must not develop a mindset that something is going to be fixed. It's like strategy is iterative. It's always circular, like the OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, and act. It's a loop for a reason, right? And I bring that. So one of the areas I like to cover is exposure management, right? And one of the things that we tell people is that you should never build your system with the expectation that, hey, I'm going to have a complete inventory of my assets. You are never going to have a complete inventory of your assets, right? I wrote this in one of our papers just recently. One concept I find tremendously useful is think about whatever it is, the gap that you're doing, as retail thinks about shrinkage, right? In a retail environment, right, there is always shrinkage. There is always shoplifting. There's always something. The trick is, how do you manage it? If you're losing 1% of inventory, 1% may be okay, maybe not okay, depends on your business, right? But you build your processes around that. And sorry for going on so many directions, but the point I'm making here is that supply chain security is never going to be fixed. You should always build your supply chain security process with the expectation that there is always a gap. That the only question is the gap material to your business or not? That's the trick, right? And then you keep iterating over that, because if you set the expectation that, oh no, we're going to fix supply chain security, and you don't, the people that you respond to are going to be mad. Hey, listen, you promised me we were going to fix this, and it's not fixed, right? So you have to set the expectations with people right from the start. This is, I mean, Bruce Schneier was right when he said security is a process, not a product. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. Drew, I ramble.
No, I think it was a very astute ramble, and you identified, in some ways, I feel a little better now, because it's like, I was just thinking about how do we grapple with this problem, and is it fixable? And I think you're right to say it isn't. And so the next thing is, well, what would we do about it? And it is to have the right processes in place, thinking about failure modes, thinking about business continuity, disaster recovery, the same old standbys that we've always had to think about definitely apply here.
Yeah.